Welcome back to another Overwatch Coach VOD review. So today we are going to review a Diamond 2 Kiriko. And they write, I'm a Bat main, but been playing Kiriko much more recently, especially when the enemy has multiple dive heroes. In this case, Tracer, Winston, Ball. I don't want to spoil the end of the game. Let's see. I understand that Kiriko can combo well dive herself with our own Tracer, but I found it hard to balance that versus the chaos from the enemy Tracer Winston and have to also peel for my Mercy, which unfortunately I couldn't save more than one occasion. I tried to weave as much as I can, but when I hit 0, I sometimes don't realize it. Talking for ammo, especially unlike BAP, you can heal in Kiriko with 0. Okay, so all right, so your main concern is how to play with Kiriko with dive. So all right, so number one thing that I would say is if you're being dove and your team isn't making space for you, then that means Kiriko's probably not the greatest option. I'm not a huge fan of playing Kiriko next to Mercy, and the reason for that being, Kiriko and Mercy are kind of in the same boat in terms of being pseudo main and off support characters. Mercy typically should be pocketing the DPS, which means in this situation you would want to be pocketing your tank. However, Kiriko's not always capable of healing enough to pocket a tank. Certain tanks are a little bit more survivable than others. And I think Junker Queen could survive with a Kiriko healing them, I think. It depends, though, but I think that could work. The tanks that I'm more or less thinking of when I think of problems with Kiriko being the one responsible for healing the tank, first and foremost, would be D.Va. That would be bad. D.Va would be really bad. Hammond would be another one that I would not like. Winston could be problematic, but it could work. That one's a little bit depending on playstyle, map, if you're attack or defense, that kind of thing. But D.Va would be the ultimate bad one. Junker Queen's also a little on the situational side because she's a skinny tank. So she can be hard to hit, which means she's got some survivability in that sense. But if she's going up against people that can aim and can hit her fairly consistently, then it might get rough. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan of Kiriko next to Mercy, but I've done it. I've done my fair share of it. And I've seen both ends of it. It can work, but it can also get rough. Typically in a situation like that, though, when I am playing next to a Mercy, I would consider the Annas, the Baps, and the Moiras over the Kiriko. But when I see that my tank is something like Orisa, Junker Queen, Ramatra, Sigma, Roadhog, some of those tanks that are a little bit more susceptible to being antied, then you kind of get forced into the Kiriko, and that's why I say I've done my fair share of it, because Kiriko needs to cleanse those antis or the tank will melt or be really handicapped. And as we see, they are running Anna, so having the Kiriko is good. So then it goes into, do we need the Mercy? Tracer doesn't especially benefit from having Mercy. Hanzo isn't an ideal Mercy pocket. However, if Hanzo can land shots and if he's accurate, then it might be fine. What is he up against? Soldier's not the easiest target to hit. Mercy's not the easiest target to hit. Ana can be kind of hard to hit. Tracer should be hard to hit if the Tracer's good, and then that leaves Winston. So I question the Mercy with these two DPS. So that's just my hot take on what I'm seeing for a team comp. But as far as Yugo being Kiriko, I'm okay with it because they're running Ana. Not that you know that yet, but once you find that out, I feel like the Kiriko is a good pick. So for any of the support people out there watching, try to kind of stay away from the Mercy Kiriko combo, in my opinion, unless you're really running a DPS duo that benefits from the Mercy, and if you're running a tank that's not necessarily going to require a lot of support resources. This one could get iffy, but we'll see how it goes. In terms of dive, though, if you are getting dove, I didn't even finish my thought yet. So if you are getting dove and your team isn't making a lot of space in the sense of like people you can teleport to, just go Brig. Brig is the anti-dive support. If you're not familiar with playing Brig, learn her. She's not that hard. Just don't treat her like a tank. And use your shield bash more as a mobility and for kind of as finishing blows of sorts. And she's really not all that difficult to play. I've done plenty of odd reviews on her. That if you liked what I'm going to give to you as you watch this and you're like, oh, I want to learn Brig, I've got plenty of them out there, and I'm sure I'll be making more as time goes on because I've seen a lot of Brig VOD review requests out there. I'm trying not to duplicate too much, and I haven't done Kiriko in a while, so that's why I gravitated to yours. So let's get into this VOD and see what we've got. Get off the pen.
I'm here.
I wouldn't worry too much about that Tracer. So, okay. Back up just a little bit. So first of all, you're shooting the barrier, so watch your aim. You've got a little window here, right? Actually hit that window if you're going to do that, because you're shooting the barrier. That's number one. Number two. You've got a Tracer on Tracer battle. I would not teleport to that Tracer, but what I would do is I'd just climb up that. And then maybe just shoot a few healing tickets her way, but kind of keep it from a distance. I wouldn't overcommit to this because your primary commitment's going to be to the main alleyway where the robot is. That's where the healing's going to be needed. It's where your whole team is. The Tracer should be able, if they're losing this interaction, they should be able to get out. At least I would hope so. I wouldn't overcommit to this, but when you teleport, this is overcommitting. And then on top of that, they've already teleported away from you, so now you're just wasting time. And now you shot all your healing tickets that way, and then she warps back here, and you're just fiddling around. And then you miss her again, so you've got 2 waves of healing that's just gone completely to nothing. Your team is battling now with 2 of your people not there. You take a few shots, you miss that. You've missed everything so far. Absolutely everything. Okay, so good. You teleport out. That E was kind of pointless.
Under my protection.
So ping the Winston. Get the attention of your team over to the Winston, because that Winston's out of position right now. Make sure you ping. As a support player, you gotta ping. You're kind of a pseudo scout. Kiriko, Lucio is the scout of a team. If you play Lucio, you absolutely should be pinging like everything to the point where it gets annoying. Kiriko can be kind of a scout though, because she's got some of the best mobility of a support character if you utilize her correctly. Beyond the teleporting, make sure you're wall climbing as well. But that Winston should have been pinged. Now, with that being said, though, your Junker Queen's not really in a position to really press him too much, but the Hanzo maybe could have. That's what you want to save your E for. That right there. So try not to waste them and utilize them for the Ana antis. Yeah. So okay, like you didn't have it, and they didn't get penalized too much for being anti'd. Like they weren't taking the extra damage. Don't just use it to use it, because the cooldown versus the Ana cooldown, they don't sync up. So just save it for the next one, because Ana gets her nade faster than Kiriko can cleanse.
Be careful, Shimada.
Especially if she lands sleeps, because then you got to make the tough decision of, are you going to cleanse the sleep or the anti? So like right there, the mercies, now anti, you could have cleansed that instead.
Enemy is here.
I've got you. We have the lead. Look at that push.
You're aiming too low. You got to aim at a head level. I don't think you've landed a damage shot yet, which is a little concerning. So you might, I don't know, maybe this will get better as the game goes on. But if your aim stays like that, you're going to have to work on your Kiriko aim, because you're missing everything.
Let's get back to it.
But try to aim at a head level, because landing headshots as Kiriko, especially when you can do it fairly consistent, it's very dominating. Another E that was kind of, I don't know, that felt like a panic one. You're standing right next to Mercy. Just say that you need, yeah. That death is 100% on you. That needed to be cleansed. You could have prevented that. Trust that your Mercy will heal you.
Feels like
And even if
someone-
she doesn't, your passive will get you back up again. Another baddie. Your E's need a lot of work.
I am grateful.
I'm with you. Restoring balance.
Hey, you landed a body shot on Winston. Gotta break the shield a little bit. I have not heard a headshot yet. Okay, got a punch. That's good.
Let the Kitsune guide you.
Yeah, all right. I guess I'm alright. I don't think I would personally have ulted there, but all things considered, I guess it's okay. The only thing I'm a little worried about is this soldier ulting with you guys not having a shield. So hopefully, what the thing I would be trying to do here is, one, I would be pinging the soldier, and two, I would be going in full DPS mode because this soldier needs to die. And on top of that, I would probably, to initiate this fight beyond that ultimate, I would throw the E down just to buy everybody some time to shoot at this soldier, because I mean everybody for the most part's pretty full on health. I mean, this isn't too bad, but it'll buy you time because they'll probably go for you first, and it'll allow you to soak up a few shots before you start taking too much. Okay, good. He's dead. Okay.
Be careful, Shimada.
Yeah, alright.
Magnificent shot.
That worked.
Even for me.
No one can stop me. I am.
The reason I say I don't think I would have ulted there is because that Ana had died already, but honestly, I probably might have gotten my team killed to that soldier visor had I not have ulted there. That visor might have been needed. Or, not sure. Oh, sorry, I misspoke. The
And we will be ahead.
Kiriko ultimate.
My gift to you.
That's unlucky. So, okay, one thing I will say, when I play Kiriko and the enemy team goes Winston, it drives me up a wall when my team doesn't break Winston bubbles. So the thing the thing is, right, like Kiriko's healing doesn't go through the shield. So you have to make an active decision. Am I going into the bubble or am I staying out of the bubble? If you consistently find you're on the wrong side of it and you're not able to heal your team, I 100% swap to Brig, because Brig can brawl with a Winston. I'm not saying she'll win the encounter, but she'll be able to brawl with the Winston and heal the team that's around the Winston that's, you know, also brawling and fighting with them. Brig would 100% be a hero I would encourage when Winston domes become an issue when you're trying to play Kiriko, or even BAP to some extent too, because you can't heal through those either. But you can break his dome down a little quicker with BAP. But yeah, if you're a Kiriko, there's not much you can do with the Winston shield. You're either going inside of it and then being presented with an issue of dealing with Monkey, or kind of staying out of it and hoping your team can win whatever battle's happening on the inside or on the opposite end of it. So you're kind of see, like, you chose to go in it and then he died because he was nanoed, and in a case like that you might have to kind of try to bide your distance, maybe hang out with the Hanzo a little bit there. But Winston does present a problem for Kiriko players. 100% does. So
This might hurt more than
the other thing you could do, now you didn't have this as an option for that fight, but the other thing you could do is try to relinquish some of that duty to the Mercy, and just kind of try to manage whoever is not engaging the Winston. The other thing would be trying to just help break the bubble, but yeah, okay, so this right here is a god complex. You're trying to save something that couldn't be saved. So, okay, look at this. This Mercy is dead. They're already dead. You see that they're low. And even if you get there, even if you do get there, what's going to happen? You're going to heal the Mercy, and the Mercy's going to heal you while the Tracer and the Winston feed off of that. That would be like best case scenario, right? You get there, you pump her full of heals. Maybe they're both reloading while you heal her. The Mercy starts healing you, and then what? You're just stuck soaking damage and healing each other, and nothing's gonna, like, you can't kill Winston, especially with a Tracer right there. So this isn't anything, there's nothing here for you. There just isn't. So then teleporting here, and then, yeah, you couldn't do anything.
Hello. I've got you.
What happened to the Winston?
What's up?
Hold on. Why did the Winston let you live?
Stop them pushing and do it now. We have the robot.
Okay. The Winston didn't even see you teleport in. He didn't even know you were there. So that's actually interesting, because then if you would have killed the Tracer, that would have been an interesting interaction. Yeah, I mean, I feel like 99% of the time that this scenario happens, that Winston would gun you down. I don't know what to say about that one. That's okay. But yeah, Tracer's inability to kill you, and then the Winston's lack of awareness is interesting there. But see, there again, that's the interaction where the Junker Queen's trying to brawl it with the Winston, but she can't get the heals because you're on the outside of it, which in this case you should be, because you're low in healing, or you're low in HP, and you already learned from the last time, well, if you go in there, you're going to die, because that's what happened to you. And that's what would have happened to you again. So this is presenting a problem where Kiriko's kind of not fitting in right now. So this Mercy either needs to be around more, or you need to swap. Nice kill. I like that kill. Okay, the dome goes down due to a bad pulse bomb, but it wins the fight at least, so there's that.
Scatter.
Let me balance you out.
We are close to taking the lead.
Stick with the robot.
Okay, what?
Your team is close to taking the lead.
So Winston puts his bubble down, and he's gunning the Mercy right now. You gotta peel for your healer, your other support. So this is a pet peeve of mine. When the supports don't support each other, I hate seeing that. And I'm not saying you're doing it on purpose, but your lack of awareness to somebody sitting right next to you getting gunned down, that you got to see this and be on top of this. This is 100% something you got to be on top of. This is 2 Mercy deaths you could have easily prevented. This Mercy is dying a lot, and it's because of you. I mean, maybe that's an unfair statement, because I mean the Mercy could maybe be positioned a little bit better, but the fact of the matter is that was preventable, and so was that pulse bomb that she died to. So you're doing a good job killing the Tracer, because that killing Tracer is not always easy as Kiriko, but you gotta get on that Mercy situation a little bit more, because you're not gonna be able to solo heal this team.
Let the Kitsune guide you.
Yeah, see what I mean? So, alright,
Relief.
in this situation, you gotta just... you can't do both. You just can't. Best case scenario would be, instead of shooting your ultimate that way, would have been to shoot it that way. And then they get a little bit of it, and then you would have been able to maybe bring the Hanzo over here and maybe healed him. The only problem is the dome is right there, and you're probably not going to be able to heal through that because the Hanzo's fighting over on this side. So that's why I say you can't really do both, and you're trying to do both. So if it were me, either I'm staying with that Hanzo, or I do what you do and teleport over here. But once I teleport over here, I just cut the Hanzo as a loss. I can't do anything. These two are more important. And then I ult so I can start rapid firing off some heals, and I get these two to 100% as quick as possible. So what I would probably do is, after the ult, I get a couple healing tickets over to the Junker Queen, but most of them are going to the Tracer because the Tracer's squishier. And the Junker Queen's not all that low. I mean, she does need some heals, but you get her a little bit, and then most of it to the Tracer. She gets topped off to 100%. She's feeling comfortable and confident. And then you get the Junker Queen going, and then they're both good. And then you just either start DPSing or you keep the heals going, depending on what kind of fire is coming their way. But you try to do both, and you couldn't, and because of your attention being split, everybody's suffering from that. Everybody's suffering from it. Okay, that was a little bit of a panic one, but I get it. And honestly, I might have done the same thing in that scenario, because you want your Tracer to be alive and you want your Junker Queen to be alive. And she was kind of low.
I'm here.
You're having trouble keeping up with this Tracer. You gotta, I think it's kind of boiling down to how you're aiming your heals. You gotta kind of pre-fire them a little bit and kind of point them in the direction you think that Tracer is gonna go. You're kind of pointing it to where they currently are. Tracer moves around, so kind of, you know, I mean, you're not gonna always be right, but if you're, see that one you missed completely, and then on top of that, then your Junker Queen just got pulse bombed. That E would have saved that. So you got to manage these E's a little bit more. You could have let the Tracer just go for the health pack. Because right now, where is your Yeah, she's right next to you. So if you stay with her... Okay, this is about where you teleport away from her. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Would they have not died from the pulse bomb if you stayed with her? Yeah. Would she have died anyway? Probably. I didn't realize there were so many people over here. I don't know. You're kind of in a lose-lose situation, I guess, but
We must take back the robot.
honestly, at this point, die by the robot. Just contest it for as long as you can. It's kind of like a die, like when you're playing defense and you die on the cart, just to stall it for as long as you can, and then you get back to your team. Dying the way you did allowed the robot to stay moving, which is problematic. If you're at least stalling it, then you taking a little longer to die, it can be a little bit forgivable. But now you're a little on the staggered side. The good news, though, is that Kiriko can get back kind of quick, and you got a teleport target.
Be purified.
Just heal your tank, heal your tank, heal your tank. Yeah. So, alright, yeah, you kind of got caught in a rough spot. So let's
I'm with you.
go back here.
At this rate, we won't be in the lead for much longer.
So you should be staying with your tank still. Like you're kind of off doing nothing. Like all of this is nothing because you're taking tough shots to hit and then you're missing them while people are taking damage, right? So like you were already by your Junker Queen. Like if you stayed with her, she wouldn't be low right now. So then you panic and you throw your E, but she needed it because she's antied, so that's fine.
Be purified.
I don't think I jump down here, or if I do, I stay by this wall so I can climb back up again.
Let me balance you out.
So like if you jump down, now the Winston's gonna be on you and not the Junker Queen.
Let's take him.
So teleporting to her puts you in a rough spot because now you're out of position. Now you've got nowhere to go, and then on top of that, she's ulting. So now she's gonna go flying off, and you don't have your teleport. You're stuck here. There's nowhere for you to go. And then on top of that, you're low on HP. If you at least stay there, you could climb back up and get up here. And then you could play the game of staying away from Winston. Because if Winston has his jump, and if he jumps up there, then you can go back down. And then when he jumps down, he's stuck down here and you climb back up again. That's a lot of drawing, but hopefully you kept up with that. That's what you should have done. Once you teleported to a Junker Queen who left you high and dry, you signed your own death warrant.
Their barricade is advancing.
My senses are sharpened.
Okay, Mercy's got you covered.
What's up?
So the only thing I'll say here is, you know, this guy don't move faster having 3 people on it. He goes the same speed. So whoever's pushing the robot, the rest can either move up or take space or whatever. You don't necessarily have to camp the robot. And frankly, yeah, I would say you're probably kind of slated to be robot pusher.
Be careful.
Don't know if that was necessary.
Recovered and ready.
That could have been prevented. I think. Wait, could it have been? Oh, shoot. Why did it do that? 718. We'll just fast forward until we get back to this spot. I hate when it does that. I do that every once in a while. The one thing it's probably good that we were rewatching a little bit of this, because I was gonna say right here, not when throwing this E, but the one thing I was gonna say is you could be wall climbing a little bit more to avoid some of this damage you're taking. You do a little bit of it, like right there, and then you climb up here, which is good. This right here is good. But what I was talking about was like back in this area, like climb up here or up one of these walls or up here, or you could just go fast tracking right up to there too. Because at some point you're not going to be the robot pusher. Once you start getting into this area, then it's going to kind of have to be a team thing, because this is where it gets contested. If there's a Winston floating around, you can't heal through it, so then you're not the optimal one. When it's kind of in the area where it's not really being contested or the Winston's dead, then it kind of falls on you to be the robot pusher. But once it gets to this area, then you're kind of looking at Junker Queen or the Hanzo or somebody having to do it. Anyway. Okay, so the question was that pulse bomb preventable? Actually, it might not have been, because she's in the dome. I don't think it would have been a rough one to get that off and actually have it affect her. So yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. If you had your teleport and you could have teleported to her, then maybe. But I don't know. That would have been a rough one. So again, the only thing I could say there, you got to just kind of die on the robot contested for as long as humanely possible, and then, you know, and you just get back with your team again. So we got a close one going here.
2-minute warning.
It's good though. Close games for VOD reviews are good because you're feeling the pressure right now. I can sense it. I can sense you and your team. You're feeling the pressure. There's no way you're not, because time is ticking down, and we're starting to get to the nitty gritty. It's basically a 3-point game. Let's see what you're made of. Okay, we're back to dealing with this Winston Dome again. So you can take 2 DPS shots between rounds of healing.
Did your mother not
Gotta be careful on that healing though, because your heals are getting blocked from that dome. But the Mercy did a good job there. Do not die here. Do not get picked.
Your team is close.
Yes! We're gonna take the lead!
60 seconds.
I'd like to see you taking a little bit more of a cautious positioning here. What I'm thinking entering right into this area here is don't die. Be one of the last ones to die and be healing from a safe spot. So what I would probably do is play here, maybe up here, maybe back here, and then poking around, something like that. Or you could maybe even fly back over that way and kind of stay more along the lines of where your Hanzo is. But ultimately, when you're entering this part of this map under this scenario, you should be thinking, okay, I can't die here. I have to live. I have to be able to enable my team to do their thing.
Yes! We're gonna...
And you're out in the open right here, so that's a little concerning. And then on top of that, this ultimate doesn't look like it's needed yet. This looks very premature. The Tracer's down there, but you don't need Kiriko ultimate to deal with Tracer. Now, they are looking like they're about to drop. If they're smart, they don't drop yet. Other than maybe the Hammond. Hammond maybe drop, maybe. Just to contest the robot. Although, little unknown fact. This is a little bit more for the tank players, but when you play tank, you might want to know this. You can contest the robot at this bridge by just standing here when the robot's right here. And then same thing right there when he's right there. So they can actually contest this robot from being up in this vicinity. I don't know if you know that or not. So you ulting to kill Tracer. What you would ultimately want to do is hope, one, that they don't know the trick that I just talked about, but two, have these guys drop down and then ult, because then that's a fight you need to win. Right now, you guys as a whole should be able to deal with that Tracer to at least make her retreat at the bare minimum.
Powered up. Nice.
Now, if they drop into your Kiriko ultimate, that's not something good that you did. That's something bad that they did that's enabling your bad gameplay to turn beneficial. And they dropped. Yeah, they're on autopilot to some extent, or they don't know the trick, because they could have contested that robot from being on top of the bridge. The tank just holds that one spot. The robot ain't going to go anywhere, and you will not be able to regain that lead until you take him off of there, which, I mean, she would be able to do. She could yank him down. But point of the matter is we're talking about your ultimate, and that ult was premature, and that is why. Ooh, nice headshot.
私がついてる。
30 seconds.
Let's take him to the wasteland. I'm with you. Bye bye.
Nice shot. Your aim is, yeah, I mean, I know why you did that, but not needed, but your aim is very all over the place, though. You landed some nice shots, but you're missing more shots that I would expect you to hit.
What's that?
And I do have a suggestion for that, but I'm going to let this fight play out. Okay, that was a good E. I think that saved your life, actually, from those Hammond bombs. Probably your best E of the whole game. Unfortunate.
Let's take him to the underworld.
Nice.
I've got you. Double. Let the kitsune guide you.
Okay. Yeah, I think for the most part you handled that fight very well. So the thing I was gonna say, let's watch that last fight again though. Real quick. Let's go back a little bit. Okay, so what I want to just cover really quick with you, we're not going to watch this whole thing over again, but I just want to cover one thing, and it has to do with your aim. Your aim is very all over the place. Like, if you watch certain streamers who are really good at Kiriko, they aim at a head level and they never move from it. So you're either hitting headshot, maybe upper torso, and that's it. Like, you're either hitting that or you're hitting nothing. So what I would suggest is try to stabilize your aim at a head level, and none of this kind of wiggling up and down movement. The only time you ever really need to look down is when you're throwing your E. Other than that, just be aiming at soldier from a head level, like, you know, just up there. Instead of, see how you're kind of just wiggling all over the place? You're also flick shotting. The way you aim, honestly, would be pretty good for Lucio. Do you say that you play Lucio? You mentioned, I think, a couple heroes, didn't you? You said BAP, I remember. No, you just say BAP. But honestly, the way you aim right now, I think you'd benefit from playing Lucio. But like, if you look at your aim, like that shot's good, but yeah, you're flick shotting. So I would consider researching a little bit how some higher level Kirikos are aiming. And it's not going to let me fast forward. And it might benefit you a little bit. Or maybe you find it's not for you and you're going to stick to flick shotting. I don't know. But I think your flick shotting is kind of hindering you a little bit. So one, I'm going to say your aim is something to look for. Number two, your E abilities are mostly poor. And we covered that as we saw it. And then three, your wall climbing could be better, could be a little bit more frequent. And then fourth one I'm going to throw out there is, how do I want to word this? I'll say, your awareness to the other support. You let your mercy die a few times that I felt like you could have prevented it. So just be aware of what your other support is doing, because the more they're alive and the more you keep them up, the less stressful your job should hopefully be. So try to just, be careful about that one. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.